Welcome back to Turning the Key to Real Estate. I'm your host, Nicholas Fegley.
And Heather Patron-Shook.
Well, everybody, we are back today, and we have a very special guest that I have just recently met at the Greater Harrisburg Association of Realtors Diversity and Inclusion Committee meeting. Amber, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Nick. How are you?
I am great.
Awesome.
Thank you for asking. Heather, how's that lovely office?
I'm in my basement, and where I am right now.
It doesn't get much more real than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's just keep it real. I mean, I'm in my basement, and I've got some stuff to do because today, Amber, have you ever had some days where you just don't have enough time to do anything?
That's like every single day of my life. I wake up and I'm like, okay, let me have my plan. And then life happens from like the second I get up until I go to sleep. And I'm like, oh, what happened to my plan?
Seriously. And the plan gets derailed. And it's like you wake up with all the good intention. I was up this morning at 5 o'clock, getting my husband, dropping him off at work. And next thing I know, my day's 3/4 of the way over and I still have stuff I have to do. So,
oh yeah, I'm usually going to sleep finishing out my to-do list for tomorrow. Like, hey, I forgot to do this today, or it's crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah.
But other than that, Amber, I'm doing good.
Right? You're fine. No, trust me, we're all here. We're all here.
Exactly.
So Amber, tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do.
Sure. My name is Dr. Amber Borelli, and I am the Interim Executive Director at Latino Connection Foundation. Latino Connection Foundation is a 501c3, and our mission is to strengthen marginalized communities and their economic stability by connecting those communities to needed resources, while we're also developing, nurturing the development of Latino leaders. So really focused on meeting community needs while building up the leadership in those communities so that they can just continue on, past our intervention or whatever we do with the community. So we really focus on building up the leadership in communities, the natural leadership that's already there, and empowering them with resources, tools, technical assistance, all kinds of different supports that we provide to.
Okay. So Amber, what would you say are some of those supports and resources that the community can seek from you guys?
Sure. So we have 3 kind of areas where we work within. The first area is affordable housing. So we are developing affordable housing. We also have public health and then community and economic development. So those are the 3 buckets that all of our programs fit in. The affordable housing is the most consistent service. So we are affordable housing developers at Latino Connection Foundation. We currently have 2 projects in process with George Fernandez as the investor. And one project is Sycamore Homes, which is 23-unit affordable housing, studio apartments right on Sycamore Street in Harrisburg. And those should be done February 2025, but talk about things that back up your schedule. Construction is one of them. I didn't know before I got into this work how crazy that can be. So we have that project under construction. And then we were awarded low-income housing tax credits for a project called Woodward Lofts, which will be at 1001 North 18th Street, which is in Harrisburg, right where the old Woodward School was. So we have those 2 affordable housing projects. And then also under our housing umbrella, we're getting ready to launch. My hope is by June of next year, we'll be launching our housing counseling service.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll actually be helping people, not just with first-time home buyers and getting ready to buy a home, but people who are facing eviction and just need that additional support to stay on track and avoid eviction.
Yeah.
Can I also offer a suggestion? When you're dealing with people who own homes and helping them understand predatory selling that's out there and to understand the value of their home before they just go ahead. And unfortunately, some people just get caught up in the quick sale situation because if they might be in distress. And that education key is also, it's a missing piece in some instances because people don't understand.
And the housing counseling program, it's funded through PHFA, but we're also planning on getting other grants and things to be able to do it a little bit larger to scale it up. But we will be able to provide counseling to anybody who's having an issue or has questions or just is looking like maybe they're having financial issues and they're looking to to do short sale or reverse mortgage or something like that. And our housing counselors would be available. They're certified housing counselors, so they'd be available.
And that's key, because knowing and understanding, especially you talk about reverse mortgages. You know, reverse mortgages, they're great until they're not great.
Right.
You know, and people don't understand sometimes the tentacles that come attached with some of the reverse mortgages, because they have an immediate need and then they're not thinking of the long term, which that's not what they wanted to do. But unfortunately, that's what they ended up being in a situation of. So that's really good. The housing counselors having that well-rounded information.
And those reverse mortgages, it reminds me very much of the paycheck loans. So like, and not that it's the same thing. I don't want to say that because I don't know enough about reverse mortgages other than they give me pause, and I'd want to look at the paperwork very thoroughly before any of my family members got involved in. But it's very much marketed to those marginalized populations. And so we tend to get in that trouble a little bit quicker because of the marketing of those projects. You know, it's during daytime television hours, it's, you know, on specific networks, and they just really, you know, pump that information out there like it's fabulous. Let's do this. You can you can still live in your house and you can get a paycheck every month, but you know,
they
your
use
house
targeting
is a huge investment
words
that you've poured into.
Yeah, they use target words, which get people, you know, the draw.
Absolutely.
So when you look at what got you started in the affordable housing, what would you say was the understanding prior, and what's the understanding now?
So I got into affordable housing because I've worked in social services for over 20 years. And every job that I've ever had, I've worked in victim services, I've worked in mental health, I've worked with people with intellectual disabilities. Every service I provided, people have been looking for affordable housing and can't find it. So there's just that like lack of affordable housing. And I'm like, this can't be that hard to do affordable housing. So while I'm, you know, going through this in my job life, George Fernandez says, hey, I need a grant writer. Could you come on and help me with some grants? And I'm like, sure. And then I got on, starting helping with some grants and realized, wow, this affordable housing thing really needs a lot of nurturing and a lot of, you got to watch that ball consistently and even more so than any other type of housing development. And then we started doing a LIHTC project, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of money you have to have up front to get into these things. There's a lot of fees. There's a lot of things you have to do up front. So getting into affordable housing, I knew absolutely nothing. I knew how to write grants, and I know how to manage grants. So I have, in the last year and a half, basically learned from a lot of really amazing mentors in the area about how to go ahead and try to make these affordable housing projects work. But they're really hard. It is really hard I hear people say all the time, I'd love to invest in affordable housing. It's my retirement plan. And I'm like, well, I don't really think it's a good retirement plan. There's not a lot of return on investment. There's no return on investment. It's more of a public service. It's not, you know, but people really think that this is a way to build a nice apartment building or, you know, build affordable housing, help your community, help yourself. But really, it's an investment that is an investment in your community because of your heart and not necessarily a head investment because it has a lot of costs and very unlikely to turn a profit.
Yeah. So when you look at the community that you guys service, what would you say you learned about that community from being outside of it to now being inside and seeing what's happening?
So I've worked in the Harrisburg community pretty much my whole career as well. So I'm very familiar with the community, but I learned a lot about when we did our community meetings for our affordable housing, both this project, Woodward Lofts project, but also we were going to do a project in Shippensburg as well. And there's a lot of misunderstandings about what affordable housing is and, you know, the difference between all the different types of affordable housing and the impact that may have on people's property values or their schools or their community. And that was really interesting and disheartening at the same time because it, you know, affordable housing is one of those things. If you don't have a house, that's like a basic need. Like if you don't have shelter, you can't, like, where are you going to get a job? You don't have an address. Like, where are you going to wash your clothes, eat your food? So it's one of those like basic needs, and we all think it's a great idea. And then if it's going in your neighborhood, people are like, oh no, don't put that in my neighborhood. So I was surprised, a little surprised by that. Most of the communities were able to come to a consensus. We just ask, about, what things do you want in your affordable housing in your neighborhood? We really go through a lot to explain what is affordable housing. Because people confuse it a lot of times with low income housing. And they're two different things. And not even that low income housing is a bad thing. It's just how it's broken out. And they use the term affordable housing, but affordable housing just means housing that's affordable to you. So affordable housing is housing that is 30% of your personal income. That's affordable housing. But affordable housing development is generally for folks who are at or below 80% of the annual median income. And when you look at those numbers, it could be pretty much most of us, know?
So when you take a look at what you see now that you didn't see before, what is something that somebody who is scared to ask for the help should know?
The housing market is changing a lot, and we had a huge uptick in the price. So somebody who is in need of affordable housing shouldn't be ashamed that they're applying for affordable housing. There should not be a stigma on that. The rents in affordable housing are basically normal rents that we used to see on the fair market. But now fair market rents are so high, people can't afford them. And we're going to see an increased need for affordable housing throughout our community. It's only going to get more difficult to find apartments and rent that's affordable if we continue on the path that we're on economically in the market.
Yeah. So talk to me about 5 years. What do you foresee in the next 5 years for yourself and the Latino Connection Foundation?
Sure. So when I started with Latino Connection Foundation, I told George, I said, listen, I'm going to give you year one. I'm going to help you build your nonprofit. We're going to get a board. We're going to get, all of this stuff together. We did that. Now we're on year two. I said, year two, I'm going to help you get funding. We're going to fund the nonprofit, and we're going to hire an executive director because this girl is not it. I love it. I love the job but I like the building part for me. So it's about building it. So year two is this year. We're going to try to, increase our funding streams, hire a couple of folks, get things moving a little bit smoother. And then year three, hiring an executive director so that I can just focus on the housing piece until somebody agrees to pay me to sit on the beach and just, do wave studies or something.
Right. Right.
But yeah, the foundation in 5 years, we're also doing work in Puerto Rico around some of our community development. We're looking to do a Kids Fit program in Puerto Rico in February, where we'll have 2 community block party style events, and we'll invite the community to bring their children out, learn about healthy eating and nutrition and exercise. And it's just the first kind of kickoff event for the foundation. But there's a lot of need in Puerto Rico as well for affordable housing. It's really sad to sometimes see, another part of the United States that's just that crippled for affordable housing.
So how can our community help out if they want to get involved? What are you looking for as far as real estate agents go, or our landlords that might be listening, or investors who might be listening?
Absolutely. So investing in affordable housing, yes, it is not a huge profit turnaround. Absolutely not. But we need people to invest in affordable housing or we're not going to have any. Yeah. Right. And if you want your kids to move out of your basement when they turn 23 or 24, we're going to have to figure that out now. And building some affordable housing so that we can make room in market rate housing so that people can have a safe, comfortable place to live is so vital to your community, your quality of living, quality of life right now, and the well-being of the people in your neighborhood. If somebody's paying more than 30% of their income towards their living expenses, they have no money for anything else. So I think for investors, just seeing that, yes, it is a worthy investment. You can invest through a nonprofit and then you get the tax write-off for that. There's neighborhood assistance program tax credits that are available. We always take donations anytime for the foundation's work. But really from the real estate, just keep talking about affordable housing, keep advocating for more funding to go into affordable housing. And keep supporting your affordable housing developers because it's lonely out here. There's a few of us in the region, and we just, it's really tough to pull these deals together and get all of that money together. And then real estate agents, like if there's land that is maybe not super desirable for everybody else, it's not that prime, like right on the riverfront type of property, but it's like, you could put up an apartment building here, or you could do something here. And the price is reasonable, reaching out to an affordable housing providers and see if they'd be interested. Because those are definitely some areas that finding land and finding the funding are two really difficult parts of the affordable housing.
How do you feel that your relationship with townships and zoning officers is going?
So township and zoning officers are all different. Harrisburg City has been great with us. We've been, we have another zoning hearing coming up this month, and Jeff Knight and his crew have been very responsive and have helped us out a lot with just making sure we have everything in a row. But there's a lot of, in other townships, sometimes the smaller municipalities, there's a lot of bleed over. The person who is on the zoning board might also live across the street, or the person, that is really against any type of low or affordable housing coming into your neighborhood might also be, the, township supervisor or something. So that makes it really tough because people have such strong feelings one way or the other. But I'm pretty genuine. I'm pretty, I am how I am anywhere I'm at. So my relationship with them is usually pretty clear cut, but there's definitely a lot of regulations and requirements and things that if I didn't have the folks that help me out in the civil engineering side to do the land development, I don't know how I would even get those done.
Yeah.
But it's, in some communities, I have heard that some of the zoning is really restrictive and doesn't allow for building, or even if it allows for building, you can get tied up in land development for a long time on affordable housing projects if the township and the community is not on board.
So I know a couple of years ago, it was the PAR's Diversity and Inclusion Committee made the recommendation to try to get us to get away from the word affordable housing and call it obtainable housing, because there may not be the stigma there.
Right.
What is your opinion?
I think what we call things matters. And I definitely believe that into my heart. But we can call it whatever we want. It's in their heads. People are still going to think about that as Section 8, as low income housing. Like even, the HUD changed they call Section 8 housing choice vouchers. They've for years.
Yep.
But most people have no idea what you're talking about when you talk about a housing choice voucher. So I think there would be value into being more clear about the type of housing that's provided. But again, affordable housing says it all. It's housing that's affordable to some people in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And people get very confused by what it means. And is it low income or whatever? But like my house is affordable because I can afford it. Right.
Yeah.
So it's affordable housing to me. But we've just gotten kind of in this habit of calling everything affordable housing if it's anything that's subsidized.
Yes, I would agree. So what would you say are 3 fun facts about the foundation that most people don't know?
3 fun facts. Oh my goodness. So our foundation, the first fun fact is we only opened our door in 2021.
Wow.
We got our 501c3 designation in 2021. And I came along, and that was the end of 2021. 2022 is when it was issued. And then I came along in June of 2023. So we've only had a board and things since July, August of 2023. And we already have 2 housing projects under development and some community programs. We're working with PNC and their Center for Financial Education.
Yep.
And we just hosted our first Starting Your Own Small Business workshop and had 17 attendees
Wow.
from all different diverse backgrounds. So we have grown really quick in a really short amount of time. So that is one fun fact. The second is that our board diversity is incredible. There are people from everywhere, from every type of walk of life. We have folks who are low-income residents who receive food stamps, who receive vouchers and things, who are on our board of directors. We also have, folks from Aetna. We have folks from UPMC. Our chairwoman, Dr. Sarah Ramirez, is a physician at UPMC. So we have a super diverse board. And then I think my final fun fact is we're just a genuine group of people. We really care about our communities. We want to see good things happen, and we want to help others to see those good things happen for themselves. So we talk a lot about, we're a lot of not just nonprofits, but a lot of organizations that talk about their bottom line and, how they're going to go after this funding or that funding. We really try to partner with other community organizations and do grant applications as joint applications where we're both applying together to try to be more inclusive of those who are already serving the community, because we're a newer organization, but also sometimes even as being able to teach that grant writing piece. We did host, when we were very early on, I hosted a free grant session at Wild Heart Ministries in their carriage house, which is really cool training room. And we had, I think, 12 people attend, and we walked them through the Pennsylvania, the fair application with PHFA. And it was amazing. So we try to also, use our skills to be able to enhance other nonprofits.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That group was a lot of fun. We're also the lead on our Blueprint community in Allison Hill and Harrisburg. So that's been really incredible through the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So it's been a really neat way to look at affordable housing, but also community development from more of a above the trees, because I'm usually just in the trees with my little projects, but it's really a great opportunity to look above the trees. And we're talking about, affordable housing is the ABCs of Allison Hill, affordable housing, business development, and community connections.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's been awesome. We've really gotten a lot of great feedback.
You've done a lot of stuff in a small period of time. I mean, to have two developments started, when you say your two developments are started, you're talking ground is dug and building is being erected?
The first one, the building is almost done.
Wow.
In February, it will be done. 23 units.
Wow.
8 project-based vouchers, 7 units for people with serious mental illness who have struggled to get other housing and have been either evicted or their behaviors have been problematic and caused them to lose housing.
Wow.
And then Woodward Lofts, we got our LIHTC award. So now we're just in the process of closing. Boy, is that an adventure. Just when you think you're done, you've put in a couple $100,000 and an application and you're like, cool, mwah, good luck. Then it's oh, wait, now you are awarded. You're like, yay. And then they're like, oh, here's some more paperwork and here's some more paperwork. And a check for this, a check for that. It's crazy. But that one, we're hoping to be able to close in May of next year on that.
That's awesome.
So the LIHTC deals take a long time. People always are asking me, well, when's Woodward going up? We've been waiting forever. Yeah, I know, me too. But it takes a lot of time.
It does. It takes a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of paper, a lot of, and often departments don't talk to each other and you have to wait on one department before you can go back to another one. And yeah.
Absolutely. I've honed my stalking skills well, though, because, you have a deadline and you can't start things before a certain time. So you're starting at a certain time and then you have this much time to get it. And, I was calling people. I was calling their employees, cell phone numbers, whoever I could get. Just, I need this letter, or I need this form, or I need this document. Because, it's a lot of information that goes into those applications. And it's crazy. You put all that time and money and effort and energy into those. And you can get to the table and they can say no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, your application isn't approved.
You missed a piece of paper or you missed something.
I love the passion.
I love the patience too.
You can see it on your face when you talk about this. And it's something that is truly needed. So if someone was looking to get involved,
please,
what would you recommend?
Oh my goodness, call me. Call me, text me, email me, send me a carrier pigeon, whatever we need to do. We are always looking for people to either invest in affordable housing or other community-based projects. We are always looking for interns. I am desperate for interns at this point. We have a position that we're hiring for now for a community program manager for part-time to grow to full-time. It's just, we're starting to get our feet wet in getting the funding and getting everything. So it's like, I could offer a full-time job. That'd be great. And I could probably have somebody in next week, but we don't have that as a nonprofit. So that becomes a struggle. But yeah, definitely. And, getting involved through volunteering, you can always reach out and touch base with me if there's a certain skill set that somebody has or opportunities that they're seeing in regards to affordable housing investment or development. If they just, are interested in, hey, we like your mission and just want to donate, they can do that as well. So we have all kinds of opportunities to help out wherever. And as more programs come around, we'll have more things to do. But right now it's, getting up and running, but definitely on the affordable housing piece, especially just the, investment. And then if anybody has any, needs in that avenue in regards to, have a property or need to talk through development or what that looks like.
Yeah.
One of the best nations in the world is a donation.
We'll link all of your stuff, your website and everything into the podcast so that everybody can find it. If anybody is interested to find out more, you're more than welcome to reach out to Heather or I. We can put you in touch with Amber, or you can visit the website and get all that information right there. Amber, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with me a little bit today.
No problem. Thank you guys. Thanks.
It was amazing.
Heather's makeshift basement that her mom wants her out of, so she needs to find some affordable housing.
Listen, you can come share my basement with me. It's where I hide from my kids. I have good snacks down there.
Love you.
Well, everybody, that was another episode of Turning the Key to Real Estate. I am your host, Nicholas Fegley.
And Heather Patron-Shook.
Don't forget to like, follow, share for more great content like this today.